What do you want to accomplish this weekend with the rookies here?
Yeah, they're here for a couple days. Kind of them get to know us get to know them. We'll be out on the field for about an hour, 15 minutes. We'll do some individual drills. There'll be a couple 7-on-7s. But again, it's just an introductory phase. So for them to see how we operate, start learning basic terminology, figuring out where everything is. So it'd be a good start.
In your experience of doing this, how quickly have you found the rookies to come in and grasp whatever you throw at them from a playbook standpoint?
Yeah, we don't really throw a lot at them right now. We want to get some. We got some tryout guys. We have obviously draft picks. We have some guys we signed after the draft, and then we have a few of our players. So again, we'll just take it slow. They have a lot to learn, which is my 24th rookie class. It's that same way every year.
Do you find your eye gravitating more towards the draft picks out here because you're invested in those guys that are going to be here, or the tryout guys trying to find like a gem who might
Sure.
make your team?
Yeah, I'd say both, Ryan. I'd say both. Again, different people will be doing. So when we do the 7-on-7, that'll be more for the tryout guys, UDFAs, kind of see where they're at, see if we can find someone maybe we can add to the roster like we did with Ryder a couple years ago. But you're evaluating, you're looking at everybody. Again, we're not really doing a whole bunch, so but you look at everybody.
Brian, can you pick up stuff like attentiveness and work ethic and just a general feel for a player?
Yeah, I mean, look, you meet with them. So, again, the amount of information we're throwing at them for these 2 days, I wouldn't say is too hard. But there's enough in there to see how, they take notes, they ask questions. We just did a walkthrough, so you do some different adjustments. But I'd say you're just, again, it's such of an introductory phase. Really, I just want to get to know these guys the best I can.
Will Nathan Rourke participate?
No, he won't be out here.
What went into claiming him?
I thought it was a good claim. Joe put a claim in. We got him. Have another arm. Did some good stuff in the CFL. Watched his stuff at Jacksonville. I know he was at the Patriots, so I thought he was a good player to add.
Does that signal anything about Daniel's participation this spring, having another quarterback? Like, will he participate, do you expect, in OTAs and minicamp?
He's been going through phase 2. We'll see where we're at in phase 3. But we thought Nathan was a good player to add to the roster.
One of the things you liked about Newman was his leadership.
Sure.
And things like that. I know he's only been around these guys for a little while, but did you see that coming through from him?
Yeah, I'd say it's too early. I mean, we did a lot of research, obviously, before the draft. I've talked to him for a few minutes since he's been here. All points say yes. The signs lead to yes, but again, he's got a lot to learn, and I'd say learning the information and how we do things is the most important right now.
A lot of the games you just pulled in Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
What'd you see in him, and why'd you bring him in?
Yeah, he had a good workout. He's been a productive player for a while, and we've had a good conversation. He ended up choosing to come here. Happy to have him.
How do you see him fitting in on the wide receiver?
Yeah, he hasn't been out here yet. I mean, he was here yesterday in phase 2, but we'll see. We'll throw him out there and see how he does.
Do you look at that as any part of Darius's future? I know
No.
you're dealing with that.
Nope.
And with a guy like Malik, I'm just
Sure.
using him as an example. He lived down south. He lived in Louisiana most of his life. He came up here.
Similar weather today.
What?
Similar weather today.
Yeah, sure. When they come up here, right, and it's obviously a different way of living. Most guys come up north and they say, "Wow, the speed of this place is just a different beast for them." As a coach, do you try to make that transition any easier for them? And if so, like how could you do that?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I say Ashley Lynn does a great job with our player programs. We try to help them be the best version of themselves in every area, not just on the field. Obviously, we know why he's here is to try to help us on the offensive side of the ball and score points. But there's a lot that goes into it, and that's part of this weekend with them meeting some of the people that are here to help them be the best version of themselves. Not just the coaches, but the support staff as well.
You talked at the draft about how competitive Malik is. Do you have to pull him back a little bit these 2 days as you're trying to ease into the weekend?
Yeah, I would just say all these guys, they got a lot to learn. So, I think we have a good plan for these couple days. But, once we get into the phase 2 portion with these young players, they're going to see kind of how far they really are behind the veterans in terms of the knowledge, the fast pace of how we do things. So again, this is this is a good 2 days to get them started, but a lot of work that needs to be done.
Malik mentioned all the way back at Indianapolis at the Combine that when he met with you and your guys, it was fun. The room was fun, you know what I mean? That was, you know, he wasn't your player then. I mean, what kind of personalities does he show you then and maybe now? And obviously it's not fun anymore, you know, now it's more work. So how is he going to translate there?
Sorry, when you said it was making me think of Remember the Titans. Remember that scene in Remember the Titans? Yeah. No, I mean, he's a good young man. I like to think we have fun in the meeting rooms, but we have a job to do, you know, and he's got to pick up our system as quick as we can, and we're going to do everything we can to help him. Mature young guy. We've had some good conversations between when he was drafted and now, and some good Zooms and, you know, introduction to how we do things and some of our terminology. Happy to have him. Competitive guy. You know, look forward to working with him.
Which scene were you talking about? There's so many good scenes in that movie.
When you said fun.
Fun?
Remember that scene?
Yeah.
When you're in the gymnasium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna pull him aside now and give him your best Denzel impression now that you heard you described it as fun?
No, I'm not going to do that. Not much of an actor.
Brian, you mentioned not just on the field that you're focused on these guys here. What do you tell them about the work-life balance, if you would, at this level here off the field?
Yeah, really, we're just trying to get ready for this practice here. So we haven't met. You know, we had a quick meeting last night and described some of the things that I talked to you guys about certain expectations. And then a quick meeting this morning just to go over the schedule. And really, they've been with their position coaches and the coordinators. You know, again, we're not installing a ton of plays, but for them to go out there and practice with energy, enthusiasm. Don't give them too much where their heads are cloudy, so some of the guys we can evaluate and see what they can do.
Why don't you do that anymore? I mean, it used to be you throw everything at them, right?
I wouldn't say everything. No, I think it's just, you know, as it's, you know, go back to 2000 all the way to now, I think you have to adjust as a staff as well. I mean, most of these guys have been practicing for vertical jumps and broad jumps and 3 cones and all those things, and we want to make sure that we do it right for those guys so they can kind of get in and you know, practice a few things, and then once they get in with the veterans, we'll have a specific plan for them as well to try to catch them up to speed the best we can, physically and mentally.
When does that happen? When do they catch up? Phase 3?
When do they catch up?
It's November, January?
Yeah, I think every rookie's different. You know, I've had some that have been, you know, I'd say fewer that have been getting it right away. You know, usually it takes a while.
Brian, how do you balance keeping them level-headed where they're not so nervous because they want to make an impression, especially the guys who want to sign?
Yeah, that's one of the first things I talked to them about last night was just to take a deep breath, relax, you know, enjoy the moment. You've worked really hard to get into this seat. Don't make more of it than it is right now. We're not going to give you too much so that your head is swimming. We're going to let you go out there and run around and compete the best you can, particularly I would say the tryout guys. And then, you know, our coaches have been, you know, FaceTime and Zooming and meeting with the draft picks and trying to catch them up the best we can. But, you know, obviously it's tough for those guys when they come in. The veterans have been doing it for a while, whether it's a year or two, these past few months as we've been working. So it's a day-by-day deal. You just try to develop them the best you can.
Brian,
more than one quarterback here?
Malik said back at the draft when he talked to us that you and he had a back and forth about you getting out on the grass and covering him.
Yeah, I'm trying to get in shape to do that. Yeah. No.
Realistic with your competitive nature as well?
No, it's not realistic.
Brian, Neighbors comes off very confident in his own abilities.
Sure.
When you're coaching rookies, especially a high draft pick like that,
mm-hmm.
do you want to create humility by showing them how much they need to learn, or do you want to kind of let that confidence breathe and go?
Yeah, I'd say, Pat, the biggest thing is just to try to teach him how we do things, to teach him the system, to let him feel confident when he goes out there. Again, we've put in just a few plays. You know, we've been going through phase 2, and I mean, we've probably put in over 200-300 plays from the start of phase 1 all the way to phase 3. So what you don't want is you don't want, you know, players to give them so much where it kind of they're not able to use their full athletic ability. You know, I don't mind players that are humble, confident, as long as they're putting in the work to learn. And that's our job, is to help them learn, and then ultimately their job to go ahead and learn it. So the faster he can learn it, the more he can use his athletic ability to help us.
What's your confidence level in Newbin that he'll be able to get adjusted to pace right away and NFL kind of pace? Right?
Yeah, I think it's it's early. Look, the guys that we drafted, we have obviously did a lot of work on them. We're happy they're here, but now whether you're a UDFA, whether you're a tryout guy, now you have to go out there and earn it. And again, there's a long ways to go for all those guys, as we all know. So he's a good young man. I know he's going to put the work in and try to get him as ready as soon as we can.
Coach, how has your teaching style changed, or has it changed from when you started to where we are now?
Yeah, it's changed. I mean, it changes every year. I think you need to. The players that are out here working out live in a different time era than in 2000 when I first started. So you try to grow as a coach. Your teaching methods, whether it's more walkthrough. I mean, when we first started, you're always in the classroom and throwing it up there. Now it's a lot more interactive. We try to develop that each and every year.